You think moving into your first house in the sun-drenched suburbs of Phoenix is supposed to feel like winning the American dream? Try having the neighborhood's self-crowned queen step into the street like she owns the asphalt and scream that your moving truck is destroying community aesthetics. Welcome to Saguaro Ridge Estates, where harmony is code for one woman's god complex wrapped in pastel polo shirts and laminated bylaws. The truck was halfway past the welcome sign when she planted herself dead center, arms folded tighter than her Botox. Absolutely not, Vivian Hargrove barked, her voice carrying that special mix of southern drawl and desert entitlement. HOA rules prohibit commercial vehicles during daylight hours. Turn around. I leaned out the window, engine idling in 108-degree heat, 2 states and a divorce behind me. Ma'am, it's 10:15 a.m. I called ahead. Your president, Harold, emailed written approval yesterday. She didn't even glance at the phone I held up. I'm acting president while Harold's in Scottsdale. I'm Vivian Hargrove, and that truck is an eyesore. Aesthetic integrity matters here. Aesthetic integrity. My name's Ethan Caldwell. I just dropped 6 figures on a house in this beige paradise, and if this was the welcome committee, I was already calculating resale value. My wife Sophia pulled up behind in the SUV with our 5-year-old Lily staring wide-eyed from the back seat. I climbed down, boots hitting the scorching pavement. Look, Vivian, I'm not here to fight. I've got the email. She sniffed like I'd offered her a dead rat. Harold's approval is irrelevant without board consensus. Rules are rules. Then, like a scene from a bad community theater production, she marched to her spotless white Range Rover, reversed it sideways across the entire street, and killed the engine. You can unload outside the gate and carry everything in. The community thanks you for your cooperation. Sophia whispered, Is she serious? I wiped sweat already pouring down my neck. Dead serious. But so am I. For hours later I'd hauled every box, every couch, every damn lamp through that gate on a dolly while Vivian sat in her air-conditioned Rover sipping an iced lavender latte, occasionally lowering the window to remind me. Slow down, dear, the dust is ruining the curb appeal. When the last box finally crossed the property line, I walked straight to her window, drenched and grinning through the burn in my shoulders. You messed with the wrong transplant, Viv. She gave me the fakest smile in HOA history. Welcome to Saguaro Ridge. Read the bylaws. Twice. Then she drove off like she'd just won the Nobel Peace Prize for pettiness. Next morning the moving truck was parked legally on the public street, right in front of her driveway, nose to tail, 0 inches to spare. For 7 glorious days. Day 1 she was at my door at 6:47 a.m. in full Karen regalia. Move that monstrosity, or I'll fine you $500. I sipped coffee on my porch, still in yesterday's moving clothes. Per city code, which actually outranks your little rulebook, public streets aren't HOA territory. Section 7.3 of your own bylaws says, no resident shall impede another resident's legal access. But funny thing, Viv, that truck isn't impeding anything except your morning iced latte run. Checkmate. She turned the color of a ripe tomato. This is harassment. No, ma'am. This is consequences with a side of irony. By day 3 neighbors were slowing down to stare. By day 5 someone had taped a glittery sign to the truck. The Queen's carriage has been dethroned. By day 7 Vivian called an emergency board meeting because, apparently, her Range Rover being held hostage was a safety hazard. The clubhouse smelled like stale coffee and broken dreams. Vivian stood at the front clutching her clipboard like it was the 10 Commandments. This man deliberately obstructed my property with a commercial vehicle, violating every principle of our charter. I stood up, Sunday morning. Actually, there's no violation. Trucks on a public street. I checked. Twice. But while we're here, let's talk real violations. 5 families on my block alone have stories about bogus fines for mailbox colors that aren't even listed in the bylaws, or flags that are too vibrant. Sound familiar? Murmurs rippled. One guy in a fishing shirt muttered, She made me repaint my garage door twice because the matte finish disrupted visual flow. Vivian's eye twitched. Those were legitimate aesthetic concerns. I smiled. So is parking a truck on a public street, apparently. Your words, not mine. That meeting cracked the dam. But the real earthquake came when I started digging. Public records are beautiful things. I found $148,000 funneled over 3 years to Desert Oasis Landscaping LLC, a company whose sole owner was Vivian's brother-in-law. No bids. No contracts on file. Just monthly checks that somehow kept increasing while our community pool stayed closed for repairs. That never happened. I printed everything, walked it over to Harold's house, and watched the color drain from his face. She's been running the maintenance budget solo for years, he whispered. I trusted her. Trust is expensive, I said. Embezzlement is a felony. Word spread faster than desert wildfire. Anonymous tips started pouring in. Another shell company for premium xeriscaping that didn't exist, federal community grants for walking trails that were never built, even checks written to vendors using names of former residents who'd moved away years ago. The city investigator showed up with a warrant 2 weeks later. Vivian was in the middle of packing her Range Rover for an urgent trip to Sedona when the cuffs clicked. She tried the classic line, "This is a witch hunt. I was just protecting property values." The detective didn't miss a beat. "Ma'am, the only thing you were protecting was your brother-in-law's vacation fund. You're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, and misappropriation of public funds." Her face in the mugshot, lips pressed into a thin line, eyes darting like a cornered coyote, went viral in the neighborhood group chat with the caption, "Aesthetic integrity achieved." The special board meeting after her arrest was standing room only. Harold read the audit results out loud while Vivian's empty chair sat there like a tombstone. The vote to permanently remove her and rewrite the bylaws passed unanimously. New rules. Every fine needs 2 signatures, every dollar spent gets posted online, and no single person gets to play God anymore. I sat in the back row watching neighbors who'd been terrified for years suddenly speak up, laugh, plan block parties. Sophia squeezed my hand. Lily ran around outside chasing lizards with kids she'd just met. For the first time since that truck rolled through the gate, the place actually felt like home. I never wanted to be the hero. I just wanted to unload my damn furniture without an audience. But sometimes the universe hands you a moving truck and says, "Park this where it hurts." Vivian Hargrove spent 6 years tightening the screws on everyone else, convinced her little rulebook made her untouchable. Turns out the only thing she was untouchable at was getting caught. So tell me in the comments, was the new guy who parked that truck the real villain for fighting dirty? Or did the HOA Karen finally get exactly the karma she wrote into her own bylaws? Was it justice or just another Tuesday in suburbia? Drop your verdict below. I'll be on the porch, coffee in hand, watching the desert sun set over a neighborhood that finally learned how to breathe.